everybody. I'm sorry I've had to mute you. Welcome to today's session. We're going to be doing a very interesting and a fun English learning class through a very beautiful story. This is a story that has won awards at more than 50 global international festivals. And it's a story that has been shot in a very beautiful animated format. I'm pretty sure that y'all will have a lot of fun in watching a very interesting and a beautiful story about a little animal that many of us might be quite fond of. I'm guessing some of you might even have some such animals at home. Okay, I don't know if you all attended our last English class. In our last English class, I gave all of you a clue to find out which animal we were doing. So the last English class, what we did was, and I gave everybody a clue, and I can just repeat the clues about what we did in the last class. The last class, and if you know the answers, you can write them on the chat. In the last class, what we did see was about an animal that lives in the jungle. And the second clue is the male of this animal has a lot of hair on its face and it's called a mane. That was what we did last class. But this class, we're doing something different. So how many of you know the answer to the riddle that we did? Which animal did we talk about last class? How many of you know that? You can type your answers in the chat and I'll see. Yep, it is a lion. I see that a lot of people have said yes. So the male of a lion, that is the lion, not the lioness, has a lot of hair on its face. And that's called a mane, an M-A-N-E, mane. But this class, we're doing something that is slightly different. Okay, I will give you a tiny little clue for this class. Okay. I'm now going to give you a very easy clue, and I'm not because the answer might be a little easy. So I am not going to give you a very easy clue. I'm just going to give you one clue. It's a tough clue, and if you don't get it in the first clue, I'll give you a slightly easier clue, in the second one. The first clue is that it is this kind of a family that we call the wolves, the foxes, the jackals. They all are said to belong to this family. What family are we talking about? Let me see how many of you are able to give me the correct answer. I can see a lot of correct. Okay, the answer is not cat. It's not a carnivore. I can see some of you who've given me that as the answer. It's not a cat and it's not a carnivore. It's not a cat, it's not a carnivore, it's not a rabbit. It's not the animal family. It's not just a carnivorous family, no. It's not a cow. A lot of you have given me the correct answer, and I am going to be announcing the correct answer. I'm repeating the clue. It is the foxes, the wolves, and the jackals. They are all supposed to belong to this family. Which family are we talking about? All right, I'll give you the answer. The answer is, it is the dog family. So all these animals, just like the lions, the tigers, the cheetahs, are all supposed to belong to the cat family. The foxes, the wolves, and the jackals, they are all supposed to belong to the dog family. If you look at the structure of a dog and a wolf, they look very similar with the way their ears are. They stand up. And the body structure is very similar, and even the teeth structure is very similar. So awesome. With just my first rather difficult clue, I see that a lot of you have figured out the answer to this. Okay, quick couple of pointers about today's class. Number one, I don't need any of you to have any material. All right, in today's class, you're going to have to pay very careful attention because we're going to be watching a video about a very interesting story, a video that narrates a very beautiful story, and we're all going to watch the video together. And in between, I will be posting links to a short quiz on the section of the video that we've seen. I'd like all of you to learn how to go click on the chat button and see the link that I post on your Zoom chat. All right. And we will be doing this back and forth after the chat, after the quiz is over on the chat. When I tell you time's up, or as soon as you finish the quiz, you'll get the end or all done on your quiz. As soon as you see that, you come back, click on Zoom, the same Zoom chat, the Zoom session will be working. The Zoom session doesn't change. You don't have to click on anything. You just come back to the same Zoom session, you join, and we will see the next part of the story. As soon as that part is done, I will paste on the Zoom chat another link. You will click on that, and then we will come back to the Zoom. So you'll go back and forth between Zoom and the quiz link that I sent you. Okay, it's not going to take you more than a minute or maybe just a minute and a half. The quiz is really, really interesting, and some of the questions might be a little tricky. All right, so if you have a doubt, what we do is after the session is over, we come back and we discuss all the questions together so that all of our doubts are clarified. And at the end of the session, I will tell you what we're going to be sitting and writing creatively based on the story that we will see. All right, shall we get started? Okay, some of you have said, ma'am, repeat. So I'll quickly give you the instruction. It's very simple. What we do is on Zoom, together, all of us will be watching a tiny piece of a story. As soon as that piece is over, I will be pasting a link to a very interesting quiz on the section of the story that we've just seen. You'll get it on your Zoom chat. You'll click, you'll take the answer, you'll click, take the poll, you'll take the quiz, you will enter all your answers. You'll get instant feedback. You will know then and there if your answers are right or wrong. You will even get points. You will know how much and how far ahead or behind the rest of all the children in this class you are. So it'll be a lot of fun. You've got to race against time and you've got to get the right answer to come rank number 1 on the leaderboard. When you come back, I'd like all of you to tell me how many points you all scored and what rank you got. All right? Shall we get started? I have not given any link so far. Now relax. When I post it, I will tell you and then you click. Now no link has been given. Now we're all going to start watching the video. Are we all prepared to watch this beautiful story? All right, let's get started. Everybody clued in? Okay, here we go. And like I told you, now everybody knows what we're going to be doing, right? We're going to be looking at a story of a tiny little dog. Right? Can you all see? Okay. Okay, now I'm just going to quickly go back and I'm going to help you understand a few things, right? Now let's look at this. Look at the words that are written there. It's called Canine University. And can you all see a picture of something on top of that? That is a picture of a dog, right? So the first word that we're going to learn today, and it's a very important part of our story today, the word canine refers to a dog. Okay, so this is a canine university. So remember, I want all of you to think, what do you think might happen in a canine university? Right? We have universities for children. We have universities for even slightly older people. This is the first time I'm seeing something called a canine university. Okay, so this, you see the gates. It's called Southeastern Guide Dogs. Observe the word that was written above. It's called the Southeastern Guide Dogs. And they have a canine university. So we have a tiny little dog who's walking in. We don't know why he's walking in, do we? And I want all of you to think about, why do you think a tiny little dog might be walking in? And remember, there are two clues. First clue is the building is called a Canine University. The second clue we have on top of the gate is it calls itself a Southeastern Guide Dog, right? This tiny little dog, this, perhaps a puppy. I'm not even sure if it's a dog. So he's just walking in, and you see there is this huge corridor, and now we're going to see at all the pictures on the wall that he's going to see. Pay careful attention. Let's see, what do these pictures talk about? What do we have on these? We see something called Ace takes first place. We see something called Trainer of the Year award. Then we see Ace leads the pack. Then we see a big, huge newspaper piece called Veterans Program Launches. Right? And look at all the pictures that are there. There's a dog in most of the pictures, and there's also somebody else in some of these pictures. So those are our clues. And we're going to try and figure out, as the story unfolds, what is this dog coming inside? Why do you think this dog is coming inside? And look at, see, again, we have words like Ace saves the day again. Right? There is something that these dogs are supposed to do. Mm-hmm. And so now we don't know who this lady is, but we can take a guess, right? So she's somebody who takes charge of whoever is coming in. And let's see what she's about to do. Before we move on to the next part here, I'm guessing all of you, when you've gone to a doctor, you've seen that there's a height chart, right? Where you want to measure yourself and you stand absolutely erect. And some of you who might want to fool the doctor might even stand on tiptoes. Look at what this dog is doing, exactly the same. It wants to reach the top of that bar, and look at its paws. Right? The feet of a dog, we call them paws. We don't call them feet, right? Like our feet, we call them PAWS, paws. Look at the dog. It's standing on tiptoes. And finally, even after it has stood on tiptoes, it's still not fully reached the bar, but it somehow raises its ear and it reaches the bar. So what do you think? Do you think the dog should be allowed to go in or not? Let's see what the lady decides. Oh, she says okay. And the dog is very happy. And that's where I am going to take a quick pause. Now, you saw the word PIP, PIP, right? I'll give you a clue. PIP refers to something, or perhaps someone in the story. Okay, I want you all to think about. Now, I would like all of you to come to your Zoom chat. Okay, come to your Zoom chat. Just give me a moment. You will see something called PIP Part 1. I'm just going to post something called PIP Part 1, and you will see a link there. Okay. Yes, it would read as PIP Part 1, and then there would be a link. Can you all go to PIP Part 1 and click on that? Awesome. I see that a lot of you have started. Get started. Now, when you see the first screen of PIP Part 1, you'll find PIP Part 1. And on the bottom, if you're using a phone or a laptop, doesn't matter. On the bottom, you will see 2 arrows. So please click on the next arrow, the right arrow, for you to begin the first question. I'm just going to wait for all of you to go ahead and finish the quiz of PIP Part 1. It's a very quick quiz. It's not going to take you long, but there are some very interesting questions. And as soon as all of you are done, we will be coming back and we will look at the answers to these. Shall we? I'm just waiting for all of you to finish the quiz. There are some very tricky and very interesting questions. So let's see. Let's see how many of you have finished. As soon as you all are done, I will walk all of you through the answers to this question. As soon as you all are done, if you see all done or the end at the end of your quiz, just come right back to your Zoom and please raise hands. And I'd like all of you to come very, very quickly on the chat and tell me how many points you got, or the first place, or which place did you get? What rank did you get? Can you quickly tell me? Let's see how many of you have got how many points. Okay, some of you have got more than 3,000, some of you have got more than 4,000. Oh, I see there's somebody who's got the first rank too. Wonderful. Awesome. Awesome. I see 2,000 plus points too. Absolutely fantastic. I have sent the quiz, my dear. If you just go to your chat, you'll find PIP Part 1 with the link. Please go and click on it if you want to play that very quickly. Oh, wonderful. I see first rank holders. I see second rank holders. I see somebody who's got the third and the fourth. That's fantastic. Awesome. Okay, I'm just waiting just another minute maximum, and then once you all are done, we will be moving on to discussing the answers to this. Awesome. Okay, let's very, very quickly discuss the answers to this quiz, right? The first part that we also, I think it would be good if we can all very quickly discuss the answer. This is what you would have got on your screen. The moment you get this, click on the next and then you'll figure out. Do you think Pip was tall enough to enter? Do you think he was tall enough? He was not fully, right? But he never touched the bar. That's also not correct. But he somehow tried to touch the bar. So that's why that's the correct answer. Moving to the next question. What has the little dog entered? What is the building that he's entered? Is it a school that trains dogs? Is it a church where dogs pray? Or it's an adoption home for dogs? The answer to this lies, the clue is in the word university. University is like a college or a place where you go to learn something. So that's why a school that trains dogs would be the correct answer to this question. How old do you think the dog was? I'll give you a quick example, a few quick clues. 25 years old, very, very rare. No dog lives beyond the age of 15. I mean, it's exceptionally rare. Dogs usually die anywhere between the age of 10 and 15, the way for human beings. If it's 80 years old for us, that's about 15 years old for a dog or 100. So it was not 25 years old. 12 years old is like a very old dog that would be tottering and pottering. No. 8 years old also is slightly an adult dog. But this was a very young little puppy. So the most likely answer is he was less than a year old. Which of this is a canine? Remember what I told you at the beginning? Canine refers to dog. It doesn't refer to cat. It doesn't refer to all pet animal, any pet animal. Yeah? Tales of canine devotion are legendary. What does the word legendary mean? So legendary refers to somebody who is very famous and somebody who's done some very fantastic work. So people who are legendary, for instance, Amitabh Bachchan is a legendary actor. You could say Mahendra Singh Dhoni is a legendary cricket player. Right, so those are what we call legendary. So it's famous is the correct answer over here. Awesome. All right, I don't know how many of you got all of the answers right. If you did, I'm very kicked. Now we shall move on to the next part of our story, shall we? Let's see what happened after Pip. Pip is the name of the little puppy. I told you that's the hint. It's somebody's name. Remember I told you that? Yeah. Let's see what happened in the next part. So let's just go back and quickly check what's happened to Pip so far. Now Pip's entered the school. And look at this screen. Now look at what's going on in the story. There's a lady, and she's perhaps an instructor or a teacher or a trainer, something like that. And she's showing all the dogs in her classroom a picture. And look at what the picture shows, and I want you to look very carefully. There are these three obstacles there, and she's telling the right way for a dog to go is around it, right? Not go right and hit itself. So she's telling her you've got to go around it. Now pay attention to the person. There's an illustration or caricature of somebody there. What do you think is going on with that person? I want you to think about what is this dog doing? Why is this dog helping this person? So she then tells them, you've got to put one paw up, right? So she tells, look at how she's saying, look at what all the other dogs in the classroom are doing. They're all putting one paw up. And look at our character Pip. Let's see what happens to him. He's not able to. Now the lady is blindfolded herself and there are a lot of obstacles in the way. She wants to tell the dog how to take that person. What should the dog have done and what has the dog done? Let's see. That's it. Pip just walked right through the little hole between the two barriers. The lady tripped and she fell. Next, Pip has to learn how to feed himself. The first dog did it beautifully. He turned the on button, got whatever he needed. He turned the off button, pushed his bowl, and he moved on. Let's see what Pip does now. And Pip couldn't get the bowl. He couldn't turn off for his food. And now again the lady tripped. And still Pip is not able to raise his paw. And he's sliding. And again, this lady has tripped. I don't know what's going to happen to Pip. All right. Now I'm going to stop this right here and we have our second quiz ready. Anybody has any questions? Yeah, I can see some of you have guessed what's going on. Why is Pip blindfolded? Oh, why is this lady blindfolded? I can see some of you have guessed what's going on quite correctly. All righty. Here's, you will see, come to your Google Zoom chat and you will see Pip part 2 and a link. Could you just go and click on that? It's called Pip part 2 and the link. Yeah? Can you go quickly and take the quiz over there? I want to see how many of you have got Pip part 2's questions correctly. And remember, when you're done, you'll come back to Zoom and you shall tell me what rank you scored in the leaderboard and how many points. Yeah? I'm waiting. It's not going to take you more than, I think, a minute and a half. And it's a very fun quiz. This time I've got some slightly more interesting questions that you've got to really think and answer carefully. Awesome. I've got the first kid who's finished the quiz and come back. She scored more than 9,000 points. It's fantastic. I'm waiting for the next. Are you done? How many of you are done? Come back and give me your score and give me your rank. Oh, I see there's somebody else who's also scored more than 9,000. That's super. I see somebody else who has scored more than 6,000. Anything more than 3,000 means you've done well in this quiz. Let's see. Awesome. I see somebody who scored the third rank in the quiz. I see somebody who has scored the second rank in this quiz. Oh, I see somebody who scored. A lot of you have scored in the top 10. That's awesome. Wonderful. Excellent. Awesome. I can see 2,000 plus points. That's great. Very good. I don't know. If you want to, you can quickly give me a feedback on the Zoom chat. Did you find the quiz very difficult? How did you find this quiz? Was it too difficult? Was it easy? It was a little difficult, this quiz. Very easy. Tricky. Okay, some of you said that it was a little tricky. That's fine. That was the intention. All right. So let's get moving to trying to understand, what's going on. And just quickly, those of you who are tracking us and following us on Facebook Live and YouTube Live, you'll see the link to the quiz is being posted on the comment section. So you can also participate live along with us. Yeah? Okay. Here we go. Now we'll move on and quickly discuss the answers to what you just done, right? This was the second quiz. This was the first question. Do you think Pip was good at all the activities given by the teacher? Yes, he was. Maybe he did a few things correct. No, he failed at everything. We never saw Pip accomplishing everything. In fact, the obstacles the teacher fell down, he couldn't feed himself right. He never really got anything right. So the correct answer is no, he failed at everything. What do you think was the reason for Pip's poor performance? What do you think was the problem? He was not intelligent, he was not focused, he wasn't paying attention, or he wasn't tall enough. What was the main issue that Pip was really facing, right? It wasn't that he was not intelligent because he was quite smart. Remember, in the early part of the story, he somehow tried to stay tiptoe, lifted his ears, and touched the bar. So he was definitely a very intelligent dog. He was not focused. That's also not true because he tried to pay attention every time. He was not tall enough. So the fundamental problem here that Pip is facing, he wasn't tall, as tall as the rest of the dogs. So that's the correct answer here. And let's look at the next. What do you think Pip's school is training him for? Why? I think some of you got the answer right. I saw on Zoom. Is he being trained to cross the road without accidents by himself? Is he being trained to help traffic policemen? Is he being trained to help blind people, or is he being trained to help little children? If you see, there were a lot of hints. That lady who was training him was blindfolded. So the reason why this particular university is training these kind of dogs is to help blind people. Which of these sentences uses the word small in stature correctly? Now, if we look at the dog Pip, we would describe Pip as a dog who is small in stature, right? So this is a grammar question. I want you all to pay careful attention. Small in stature is that dog. No, you don't say that. Dogs that are small in stature are kind. Small in stature dog is kind. So small in stature by itself is not an adjective. So you can't use small in stature dog, right? You can say a small dog. But you can't say a small in stature dog because small in stature is not an adjective by itself. Why is small in stature a kind dog? Again, this is not an appropriate use of a word that uses to a phrase that uses to describe a dog. The correct way to use the phrase small in stature is this: dogs that are small in stature are kind. So it's a descriptive word but it is not used like an adjective. So if you see these three sentences, they use them as an adjective. It is not to be used like that. So that's the correct answer. What's the opposite of obstacles? Do you remember there were all those things that were stopping, standing, in the way of the lady who was trying to walk? Is the word opposite of obstacle challenge? No. The meaning of obstacle is something that's very challenging, something that is resisting. So both of these refer to meanings of obstacles. The opposite of obstacle is support, right? And favorite is not related to obstacle at all. Got it? All right, now we move on to the next part of the story. Let's see what happened to Pip. Now, Pip is failed at everything that his teacher has taught him. He doesn't know what to do. Let's see. Okay, that was a very sad turning in the story. We'll go back quickly. I want you all to pay very careful attention to what's going on over here. This is very, very important, the next scene. Now remember, so far, Pip has failed at everything that his teacher has taught him. And now look at the picture that Pip is looking at. Look at this picture right in the center on the bottom. It says Ace leads the pack. It's got 4 dogs in the picture, and pay careful attention. The dog in the center is very short, right? And he says, oh my God, there is a short dog who has also done very well. Look at Pip, his eyes widen. He's now feeling very confident of himself. Oh my God! See, it was usually otherwise impossible so far. He could never touch that orange button, and this time he just jumped up and got it. And he's never raised his paws so far. He's finally figured out how to raise it. He's also learned if there is a bump up in the road, how you should just go up, raise your paw, and stay there, so that it's an indication to the blind person that they shouldn't just walk like that. There's a pause. Please ensure that there is an upward incline. His teacher is now very proud of him. She's patted him. This is an exam. Pip is first. So the lady ties that thing. And the lady is blindfolded. Pip is very excited. Pip is so excited, he just didn't pay attention. The lady tripped and she fell. The exam officer has fallen off his chair. You see, he's not behind the desk at all. What do you think the exam officer feels? Do you think he's happy or he's completely angry? Let's see. Now, Pip has been asked to leave because he's failed his exam, right? Right? I don't know how many of you do you feel very sad for the dog because he's been asked to leave? Do you think it was really his fault? Probably wasn't. I don't know the answer to your question. Anyway, before we find out what happens in the end of the story, here is your third quiz. Okay, all of you go to your Zoom chat window. Can I ask all of you to go to your Zoom chat window, and you'll find another link over there, PIP Part 3. There would be a word called PIP Part 3. Take the quiz, click on it. It will open the quiz in a different place, not your Zoom window. You'll get a list of questions there. This time there are a couple of more interesting questions that I've added for you. It's a little more tricky. So let's see how many of you can get all the questions right. I can see that some of you have written that, ma'am, I've seen the story, ma'am, I know the story, ma'am, I really like the story and all of that. I know you might have seen the story, but there are many things for us to think about frame by frame when we see a narrative like this. There are a lot of hints and clues that are there in the pictures, that are there in the illustrations. So from the words, we'll understand what's going on in the story. So let me see how many of you really understood it, even if you've seen the story before. Go take the quiz, come back, and tell me how well you've done. I would like to see how many of you scored a very good rank in this quiz. How many of you are happy with the points that you all scored? I'd love to see your feedback. Did you find the quiz very difficult? Or it wasn't that difficult? Awesome. I see the first couple of kids who finished and who've come back. Those of you who finished the quiz, please come back to Zoom. Come to the Zoom chat window and tell me how many points you scored. Awesome. There's somebody who scored rank number 2. I can see a lot of people who've scored more than 6,000 points. It's absolutely fantastic. Okay, I can see a rank 3, 4, and a 5 who've come. That's great. Those of you who haven't got the link, just go to your Zoom chat window. You'll get it. Great, thank you. I can see that a lot of people who have completed the quiz with excellent points. Yes, your quiz will open in a separate window. As I can see, some of you have asked the question. It does open in a separate window. You'll have to take the quiz over there. Awesome. I can see that a ton of you have finished. And let's now quickly explore the answers. I'll just hold on for a moment because I can see that there are still a few more kids who are attempting it yet. Let's just wait and see. Okay, that's great. Those of you who are watching us on YouTube Live and Facebook Live, you can see the same link posted in the comment section. Please go click on that. And then you'll have to come back to YouTube and again watch this from there on. Oh, great. I can see a lot of kids who said, ma'am, I got all the answers right. That's great. It doesn't matter. I mean, I think anybody who got up to 2 mistakes is still a very good performer. So let's see. Okay, here we go. And I'm going to quickly discuss the answers to the quiz. Please also write in the chat window how difficult or easy you found this quiz. What was the reason for the change in Pip's confidence, right? Originally, Pip was failing in everything. Why do you think Pip suddenly started becoming good at whatever he was doing? Was it because the other dog started laughing at Pip? Was it because Pip's teacher spoke to him very gently? Was it because Pip saw a picture of a short dog that had performed very well? Remember in the story narrative, we did see a picture on the wall with a tiny dog amongst 4 other dogs, which had performed very well. So that is the reason why Pip became very confident. Here's a vocab question, and I will explain what this means to you in a little while. What are guide dogs? A guide dog, is it a dog that helps blind people walk safely? Is it a dog that guides people on how to participate in sports actively? Is it a dog that is a good referee in football games? Or is it a guide to scouts in scouting activities? If you see, I think the answer is pretty evident from the story itself. It's a dog that helps blind people walk very, very safely. What do you think are the essential traits for a guide dog? If you've got to be a good guide dog. Now here, remember when you see something like this, select all that apply. That means more than one answer is correct. So a good guide dog has to be strong, has to be intelligent, and has to be able to see very well. It doesn't have to be pretty eyes. It doesn't have to have pretty eyes. It should be only able to see very well. So that is the right answer. Got it? And then, so these are the three correct answers. A guide dog is rewarded for its bravery. What is the meaning of rewarding somebody? Rewarding means you're basically appreciating somebody using, could be a token of appreciation or some kind of an award. So that's what the word reward means. What happened on the exam day at the training school? Pip wanted to jump over the board. Is that why he jumped? Is that why the teacher fell down? Or Pip did not like his teacher and tripped? Is that the reason? Pip didn't like the guy who had come to examine. Is that the reason? Or Pip lost attention because he got very excited and that's why he fell down and then he was asked to leave? Oh, did Pip's trap get caught somewhere? It was simply that Pip lost attention because he got very excited. So that's the correct answer. And how can we describe Pip's emotions after the exam day? So he was asked to leave. What do you think? Did he become lazy? Was he exuberance? What exuberance means? Extremely happy. Clearly not, right? Pip was very sad. So dejection is the right answer. Dejection means somebody who is very, very sad. I mean, dejection is somebody who is very, very sad. Okay, now shall we go on to seeing what happened in the next part of the story? Shall we? Quickly, those of you who've taken the quiz so far, just tell me on the chat whenever you have a moment to tell me how difficult or easy you found it. Okay? Now, in the meanwhile, we move on to the next part of the story, in the final part of the story. This is okay. All of you. All Did you all like the ending to the story? How did you find the ending to this story? Okay, just a quick pointer before we, so basically there was a lady who was trying, a blind lady who was trying to cross the road, who was getting stuck, and suddenly Pip heard this loud sound and he wanted to go and save that lady. He ran, he saved her. And so the Canine University felt that even though he may have failed in the Canine exam, because in real life he went and saved somebody, he deserves the award that the Canine University gives all the dogs. I'm hoping all of you noticed what was that award, what was the recognition that they gave. Now, very quickly, some things we have to learn about, a few new words, right? Guide dog. What's a guide dog? See, typically, guide dogs are dogs that help people who are blind, like you see in this picture. Like you see, there's this man who's walking inside an airport or a mall, I'm not sure, and he's blind, so he's being guided on how to navigate his way through that maze with the help of a guide dog. That's what guide dogs are trained for. And look at this picture. This is a person who has some kind of a disability. So he's not able to walk, so he's on a wheelchair. So the guide dog is the one that will help him move around in the most appropriate direction. Okay, all right, now we come to the last quiz and let's see how many of you score very well in this segment of the quiz. And once you're done with that, please come back. We will once again discuss the answers to the quiz so all of us know uh, what the questions, what the correct answers were, and why they were the correct answers. I know quizzes will give you the feedback what's the correct answer, but you should know why, right? So come back to Zoom and write on the chat, and I'll tell you what your final submission for today should be. And those of you who are done, also come back and tell me how much you enjoyed today's story and today's quiz. I have sent the link. It would read itself as PIP Part 4. Can I request all of you to go and take that quiz? It's called PIP Part 4. Again, there are a couple of trick questions here. So you'll have to pay very careful attention to what's going on there. Let's see. I think a lot of you have finished. Great, I can see somebody who scored more than 7,000 points in this quiz. That's awesome. Somebody who scored even 9,000. That's fantastic. Let's see. How many more people do we have who finished? If you finished, please come back to Zoom and write to me on the chat window what rank you scored or how many points or both. I would love to see. And your feedback. How did you find the quiz? Was it too easy, too difficult? Would you like something that's more difficult in your next class? I can give you something tougher. Awesome, first rank, a lot of you, great. So each of you is usually broken into tiny cohorts. So it's possible that more, while all of you are literally sort of playing this quiz against each other. So we have about 500 or 600 people totally playing this quiz right now together alongside each other. But you'll still be broken into little groups. So that's why many of you might score the first rank. But that's because in your group you've scored the first. So, okay, great. I see somebody who scored more than 5,000 points, somebody who scored the 10th rank. That's great, awesome. And please write to me on the chat window how easy, difficult was it? Can you tell me, was it easy, medium, difficult, the quiz? Quiz is, how did you find? Did you find the quiz is easy or medium or difficult? Awesome. Oh, a lot of you have written it's medium. Okay, that's good. Some of you have said it was difficult, and some of you have said it was easy and interesting. Oh, some of you found it super hard. Okay. I can see a lot of you have said it's medium. Great. Okay, and now that we're done, I'd like to quickly discuss the answers to the last quiz. What do you think alerted Pip to the danger faced by the blind woman? There was a blind woman outside. Was it his own tears? Was it just the sight of the blind woman walking just because he saw somebody walking? Was that what alerted him? Or the loud sound of a machine? It was the loud sound of a machine that told him, oh my God, there's a danger faced by that lady. So, and then when Pip did very well and he was recognized for his excellent performance in real life, what does this university give all such dogs? Does it give them a blue scarf? Does everybody get a blind friend? Do they get a lot of new dog friends? Or do they just get sorrow? Now remember, the important point is dogs who perform well in this school, what do they get? I'm sure all the dogs get dog friends. And perhaps all of them will get a blind friend. But the ones who do very well are recognized with a blue scarf. That's what the final end of the narrative says. How would you describe the story of Pip? Would you call it a saddened story? Would you call it a violent story? Complicated story or a heartwarming story? I don't think it was a sad story because it ended on a very beautiful note. I don't think it was violent either because there wasn't any fighting. I don't think there was any complication. It was a simple and a straightforward story. It was heartwarming. Heartwarming is something that makes you feel very nice and happy at the end of the story. Which of these can be the most appropriate title for this story? Now remember, whenever you get a question like this, even in your school, the key is the most appropriate title. Now it is possible that many of these titles would be suitable, but you have to think for this story which would be the most appropriate amongst these. Why dogs are kind? Is the story all about kindness of dogs? No. Is this a story dogs for blind people? Maybe. So just think. Is this a story about a small dog with a big dream? Perhaps. Tears of a dog. The story is not about the tears shed by a dog. So between these two, which is the most appropriate, is the small dog with a big dream, because it talks about this dog who had his own limitations. The story of Pip tells us that being short makes life impossible for dogs. Is this true or false? Not at all, because Pip actually overcame his height, the challenge posed by height, and he did really well. Guide dogs are also used by people with various disabilities. So, what kind of people could this be? People who get angry, is that a disability? No, that's not what we're talking about. Elderly people with weak eyesight. Perhaps children who are careless, who are running around the road, do we use guide dogs for them? No, we don't. Truck drivers who can't see the road clearly, again, no. That's not why we use guide dogs. We use guide dogs for elderly people with a weak eyesight. So those are the answers to the last quiz. And before we wrap up for the day, here's the submission that I'd like from all of you. Take a piece of paper, write your name, your grade, and the name of the school that you go to, and narrate the story of Pip in exactly 4 crisp points. I don't want a long, winded story. I don't want that. I want you all to learn how to express your thoughts in very crisp and simple words. The 4 points that you've got to think about: who's the main character? Introduce the main character using a simple sentence. What does the character want to do? Remember, at the opening of the story, there's a canine university he's trying to enter. Why is he there? What does he want to do? So I want you to express that in one sentence. But what is his problem? What challenges does he face with respect to the other dogs, right? Why might he not be able to do as well as the other dogs? I want you to express that in a single point. And finally, how does he solve his problem and get recognized by the same university, the canine university that he goes to? How does he solve that problem, and how does the university recognize him? Now, last point, how do we submit? You will go to live.uolo.com and you will go to a section called Submit Your Activity over there. And then it will ask you for your mobile number. You'll enter your OTP that you'll get your mobile number. And then you click on this, Learn English Award-Winning Stories. You click on that, the story that we've just done today with Pip. And you will go and take a photo of the narrative that you've just written and you will upload it over there. Got it? I'm hoping all of you are clear. Tomorrow we've got a fantastic and a fun dance session. I'm sure all of you love to express yourselves much more in dance perhaps than in the written form. So we look forward to seeing all of you at 5 p.m. In our dance class with Soumya ma'am tomorrow. And for those of you who may not be familiar, maybe watching us on other channels, the way you've got to, get on. If you want to get onto the Zoom session, you go to live.uolo.com and you go and enter your mobile number. It will send you an OTP, and then you get to choose today's session on which channel you'd like to join us. If you'd like to join us on Zoom, it will give you the option. You go click on it. It will directly take you to the Zoom session. All right, with that, we wrap up for the day. I look forward to seeing all of you in the dance session with Soumya ma'am at 5 p.m. tomorrow. And without fail, I would like to see all of you writing those 4 points, submitting them on live.uolo.com, and I will be looking through all your submissions and I will choose the top 10 best submissions in the narrative and the way you wrote. Right? Remember, I'm the one who's going to be choosing. I want simple and crisp sentences. I'm not looking for long winded ideas and long winded words and sentences. Simple ones, the 4 points: who's the character, what does he want to do, what is his problem, how does he solve. That's it. I have only 4 points and I'd like all of you to write that. Okay. Look forward to seeing all of you tomorrow at 5 p.m. Bye.